Next we'll be moving on to the beef larb. It's very aromatic and has lots of fresh flavors. I'll start with the shallot. So I treat a shallot much like just dicing an onion. So I make a few slits with the grain of the shallot, then a couple vertical so that I can finely mince this as I go through it. Next we'll go to the lemongrass. So the lemongrass is a little bit stalky. It is actually like a grass, so you've got a lot of layers to it. And the outside layers are very woody. So I usually peel back 1 or 2 layers, and then some of this top stuff you probably won't end up using. It's extremely woody. It may not be something that you cook with very often or at all, but if you can find it, I highly suggest using it. It's extremely aromatic, has a ton of flavor. So my tip with this that I like to do is I use a sturdy knife, and I actually take the blunt end of the knife and break up the lemongrass before I start trying to chop it. And you want to finely mince this because it can still be a bit woody, but the flavor you're going to get out of it is so intense that you won't notice the texture if you get it nice and fine. Finally, we'll use the ginger. So I'll take the end off of that because the end tends to be a little dried out. And then what I'll do is I'll use a teaspoon just to peel the ginger. The contour of the spoon just will take that rough peel of the ginger right off. Then I'm going to use about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of that ginger. And what I like to do, kind of treat it like garlic, cut it into some small medallions, and just give it a quick crush with the side of my knife. Again, this helps to break up the fibrousness of that ginger because it technically is a root, so it is a bit fibrous. And then I'll just go through and give it a quick mince. All right, and there we have it. All of our aromatics, nice and finely cut. And when you're using this many nice ingredients, it's important to use quality beef. So I'm using Certified Angus Beef, 80% lean ground beef. I'm gonna preheat my pan to a medium high, and I'm gonna add some canola oil. Just a little bit, just to kind of get a non-stick layer going on that pan. Now I'll add in the ground beef. So now that we've added the ground beef, we're gonna brown for 3 minutes. And I'll season it with some salt and pepper. So now that I've got a good brown on that, I'll add in my aromatics. So I've got the ginger, lemongrass, and shallots I just chopped up. Those will all go in, as well as some garlic. And then I had sliced some scallions. So I'd actually separated the whites from the greens. The greens I'll use as a final garnish, and the whites, I'll put in some of the whites now because those can kind of handle the high heat, whereas the greens will wilt, get a little slimy, so I like to use those as more of a final garnish. So now I'll let this saute for an additional 3 minutes. You can really smell all those fresh ingredients in here. Now that I've let those saute for another few minutes, I'm gonna add in some of the liquids. I've got a tablespoon of soy sauce, tablespoon of Sambal chili paste, and then the juice of 1 lime. I'll turn the heat down just a little bit because I just want that to simmer for a few minutes, reduce, and kind of coat all the beef, make a little bit of a sauce. Next, we got the larb. So we've got the sauteed ground beef with all those aromatics. This one's nice and easy. The dish itself is done, but you just want to give it that final touch of some fresh herbs. Here I've got some cilantro and mint that are chopped up. I'm gonna go on heavy with those. And then some more of those scallion greens from earlier. So remember to like and comment below on what you thought about these recipes, and we'll see you next time in the test kitchen.